Okay, Boker Tov. Today is the last daf of Nazir, Samech Vav, and we pick up with the Gemara at the bottom of Samech Hamad Bet. And we had just had a Mishnah that really had very little to do with Nazir, except that it had the phrase Vaglayim L'Davar, which was a phrase we had at the beginning of the parak, and it was about checking a Zav to make sure that the flow was not due to some external cause. But once that was before he became a Zav. But once he became a Zav, he had two flows. Then additional flows, which are relevant because a third one means he brings a korban, and if he's trying to get his 7 days without flow, a flow would mean he would have to start again. Then in those types of cases, we're not concerned with external causes or the possibility of external causes because of raglayim with dafar. Because once he's already a Zav, we assume that the continued flow is as a result of that ziva, of that condition, and not due to something external. So the Gemara now says, the beginning of the Gemara after the Mishnah, 6 lines from the bottom, Minani Mili. Where do you get this from? So that this idea that we make this distinction between, what external causes. So I'm a Rabbi Nasa, and I'm a Kra. The Azavet Zovo, the flow, the one who has the flower of the flow. So the end of the pasuk is the Azavet Zovo lazachar v'lanekeva. And the one who flows the flow, whether male or female. So there's a woman who's a zava. Now, for a woman, the basic difference in the Torah is between something that is natural and not natural, or not regular. So for a woman, it's a difference between a nida, bleeding during her menstrual period, and a zava, bleeding not during her menstrual period. So for her, it's all about bleeding. It's not a question about what is flowing, but it's about when is it flowing. For the man, it's the difference between a seminal emission, shichvat zera, which is natural, and ziva, which is not a question about the time that it's occurring, but what actually is being emitted, something that is not semen, something that is considered ziva based on, and there's ways of and the Gemara talks about, or the Mishnah talks about, what exactly that looks like in terms of the actual consistency of the thing that's being, that is flowing. Okay, so, but both of them, you have the natural sort of condition and the not natural condition. Now, by a woman, that we learn from elsewhere that whether the blood is coming out because of what you would, even if the blood is coming out due to onus, some external cause, actually some of the cases exactly mentioned in the Mishnah, whether we think that maybe it's due to something she ate, or actually the case about she exertion, or she jumped up and down, whatever it is, it doesn't matter whether that's due to some external cause. Onus doesn't matter. So for the man, though, we say that it does if it's based on an external cause. So where do we get this from? So because it says V'azav et zovo, and zovo is there like masculine, and then lazachar v'lanekeva. So when is male like the female that external causes don't matter? After hazav et zovo. If there's been already 2 flows, the double language of the word zav, then if continued flows are due to onus, it doesn't matter. Like by woman, where it never matters. Okay, so starting by the third sighting of the flow, then it's like a woman that it does not matter even due to external causes. So the Gemara says, "Tanya, but don't we teach in a Braita? Rabbi Eliezer, Rabbi Shlishes, Bodkinoso, Bravias, Ein Bodkinoso, that even for the third flow, you see whether they're external causes, and if so, it's discounted. And he would not have to bring a korban. He would need all 3 flows to be based on non-external causes. It's only the 4th flow that doesn't matter. What's the relevance of a 4th flow? As I've been saying, that then he tries to get 7 days of non-flow, and there, if it is a flow due to an external cause during that 7 clean days, then we don't care. But for even the 3rd flow, we do care, according to Rabbi Eliezer. So what's that based on? Ella be'esim kamiflagi. Fine. So for him, it's based on the extra word es. Rabbi Eliezer darsh esim, Rabbanan lo darsh esim, right? V'hazav et zovo. All right, so do you read it? V'hazav zovo, 2 re'iyot, and then afterwards, even due to honest, it would still be considered a flow. Or do you read Vazav et Zovo, 3 re'iyot, and then afterwards?
That's the famous hermeneutic.
Right, that's Reb Nachum. Exactly, Reb Nachum Ishkamzu, all of that fun stuff. Exactly. Okay, so basically, again, for Zav, the first 2 to 3 re'iyot based on this debate. It's only a problem if you check to make sure there are no external causes. If there might be external causes, it's not a problem. But starting either on the third re'iyah that obligates him in a korban, or the re'iyah afterwards, which could come to prevent him from getting his period of 7 clean days, in those cases, it does not matter due to an external cause. And the debate is whether it matters on the third or not, but everybody agrees from the fourth on, it does not matter. Okay, so that's that first principle, that we only check for external causes during those initial re'iyot. Now it goes on. Onso v'sfeiko. Amarava. So now the next line of the Mishnah is a little bit unclear. Something due to an onus, external cause, and a doubt, and semen are tme'im. Now we get onus. Onus was what we just said. After 2 flows, maybe 3, even due to external causes, it's still a problem. That's what onus is. What is sveiko and shichvat zaro? And Shechvat Zaro seems pretty clear. It's semen, but semen of a zav is not a problem per se. So we'll worry about Shechvat Zaro in a minute. But what's the Sveiko issue? So let's take a look. Amar Rava. Lo teima safik chaza safik lo chaza ella vare chaza safik machmas Shechvat Zara safik machmas ri'iyah. So don't say that the issue of the Mishnah, if there's a doubt, we assume he's tamei after he has had 2 or 3 flows, let's say 2, is that you don't know if he had if anything came out at all. Because that would not say raglayim l'davar. Just because this guy has this condition doesn't mean that if you don't know if anything came out, that you assume something came out, right? Even if he had 2 or 3 times, doesn't mean, oh, well, we don't know. Let's just assume that it happened again. No. It means something did come out. You just don't know its identity. Now, what's the issue about not knowing its identity? So he says you don't know if it was a result of seminal emission or not. Why does that matter? Because if you take a look, Tosfos clarifies. Tosfos says like this. Pirish Ri, the Tosfos Amar Rav, top of the daf. Kiraminim perkama peles ziva de pticha bei shechvat zera lo sakra el yom echad. Ziva de lo pticha bei shechvat zera sakra shiva. Okay, so this is again this little obscure halacha, which is if this flow comes out together, mixed in with semen, then it only destroys 1 day. If it's not, it destroys all 7. The guy's been counting days of no flow. He's up to day 3. Okay, for example, and then then something happens. So if he just has a seminal emission, doesn't do anything. That's not ziva. That doesn't interrupt. Let's say, however, it's a seminal emission that has with it some of this other ziva liquid, fluid mixed in with it. Then he can't count that 1 day. Okay, but he can still keep on counting. So if today was day 3, he has 2 days before. Today doesn't count, but then he goes tomorrow, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He just can't count that 1 day. If, however, it is a ziva that is coming out without any semen, just by itself, then he has to start all over again from the beginning.
Isn't that analogous or parallel to the question of whether blood is from the uterine lining or from some other source?
Yeah, so there is some analogy there, although, again, there is some analogy, although here what is different is that here, even though we know the ziva is coming out, if it's not coming out by itself, it has a different impact on his status. But yeah, there are all these interesting parallels between that and a zava who's getting 7 clean days as well. Okay, but the point for us is, so we need to know whether his ziva came out by itself or together with semen. So the question is, does he now have to start the 7 days all over again, or does he just lose this day? That's the safek. Okay, so the example would be, Tosfos says he finds on, let's say, his underwear, he finds stains of both. And he doesn't know, did they come out separately or did they come out together? So in that case, because he's already a zav, that's the raglayim l'davar of the Mishnah, you assume that, you make the more chumrah read of what happened. And you assume that the ziva came out by itself and he has to start all over again rather than it came out mixed together with the shechvat zara. Mixed in, okay? Mixed, yeah. Like intertwined is more whatever. Okay, so anyway, but that's a little not the right image. Okay, so Ela Vade Chazah, back to the Gemara, he definitely saw Safik Machmat Shechvat Zera. It's a doubt whether it came as a result of the Shechvat Zera, Safik Machmat Ri'iyah, or whether it came by itself. That's the way Tosfos is reading it. Even Sheniskak Latuma, now that he's already seen twice or 3 times, Sveikot Hamei, we'll assume the worst, and we'll assume it came out by itself, and he has to start all 7 days again. Okay, so that's the Sveiko. Now, what's the last one? Shichvat Zaro, the semen. Because semen by itself of a zav does not affect his status. So what does that mean? So let's see what the Gemara says. Lamai hilchasa, for what halach is this relevant? Or lamai, for what is this relevant? Ilema lamaga, if it is to tell you that if you touch the semen, you're tamei, Okay, big deal. Migar Meshechvat Zera de Tahor. The semen of a normal person who is Tahor, of any normal man, it's considered the semen is an Av Hatuman, somebody who touches it is Tameh. So obviously we mean something more than that. Ela Zaro Shel Zav, Matami B'masa. So what we must be saying is that his semen is considered to have the same weight as his ziva, which is that you're tamei not just by touching it, but even by carrying it. Okay, the flow, the ziva of a zav causes tuma even by being carried. Okay, even not being touched. So now we're going to say that once he's a zav, even his semen has the same status. So now we're going to question that. Why should we say such a thing? Semen is not ziva. Okay, so man shamis lahadam or shichot zera shel zav mitame b'masa. Now, who is the one that says that the semen of a zav is treated like the ziva itself and causes tumah by being carried? Ilema hay tana de tana. If it's the following tana which we turn to brisa, Rabbi Eliezer omer shichot zera shel zav enu mitame b'masa. If that the semen is not mitame by being carried. Rabbi Yeshua omer mitame b'masa. No, if it's from a zav, it is mitame by being carried. Not because in principle semen has that status. No, but because once this guy is a zav, we assume that anything that's coming out, any penile emission, any semen is going to have in it some drops of this other flow, of this ziva. So that's why. All right, so obviously, so maybe our mission is Rabbi Yoshua. That would make sense. Once he's a zav, we're going to Raglayim Medavar, and you'll assume that any emission, even if it looks like seminal emission, has some ziva in it, and you'll be strict. Okay, so Afila Rabbi Yoshua, but now the guy says 1 minute. Afila Rabbi Yoshua lo amar el mishum tzituchei ziva. He only says it because of the little droplets of ziva. He would not say the semen just purely by itself would be a problem. Now, it's still a funny pushback because it's a very reasonable read of the Mishnah. Mm-hmm. His semen, you treat strictly because of Raglayim L'davar, because you assume there's other stuff in it. End of story, right? According to him, there's no way you're going to get it pure. What are you going to do? Run it through a centrifuge or whatever? I mean, obviously, there's no way to. We're not talking abstractly. We're talking in practice. In practice, his shechvat zera is a problem because he's already a zav. But anyway,
dried liquid is the same as wet. In other words, blood or anything that has dried already on the upholstery of the
the dried would. I mean, there is some. Yeah, that's correct. I mean, actually, we're going to get in a minute to a question about that, but for now, let's say yes. Okay, so it's actually no, we're not going to get to that here. I'm sorry. Anyway, but as a general rule, I'll say yes. Okay, so the Gemara says, so Ella mishum tiktuv aval beni lo Ella amarav lo amar. He wouldn't say Ella amarav adabarava lo mar she'ain tolim ba. You do not attribute it to it. What does that mean? It means that, remember we had these things that you said, if the ziva comes due to an external cause, it's not really considered a ziva. So one of an external cause would be a man just ejaculated, had a seminal emission, and then afterwards he had a flow, he had a ziva. So in that case, you would say that ziva is due to some external cause, due to the fact that maybe his body now has been weakened through this, or somehow has it had this other experience right before that led to this flow that followed it, and it's not, therefore that's considered an external cause, an unus, and it would not be considered a ziva. All right, like the other external causes in our Mishnah. Okay, so if he's saying, let's say that happened after the guy had two flows. After he had two flows, then he became a Baal Keri, he had a seminal emission, and then he had another flow. So you want to say, discount that other flow, it's coming after seminal emission. The same way you don't say that by the other external causes in the Mishnah. Once he is already a Zav, you don't care about these external causes. Okay, so that's how he's reading the Shichvat Zaro. It's not Pshat. I think the Pshat was very good beforehand, but okay, that's what the Gemara is saying now. Okay, like you don't attribute the flow to other causes, you don't attribute it to this.
But if he was a zav, no,
if he were not a zav, then you would be toleba. If he were not a zav, the same way if he had certain types of foods or exerted himself or was sick, and then he had his flow, it would not be a flow that would be a problem because it was due to external causes. If he had a seminal emission and then he had a flow, it would not be a problem. But now that he's already a zav, then the flow that comes after these causes is a problem. Okay?
You don't link it to the
and you don't, right, you do not sort of, dismiss it, right, attribute it and dismiss it due to the shechvat zera. Okay? So Sarah of Papa coming to Rav L'Meimar, So the reason that we would normally say that a flow after seminal emission is not a problem, if it came at the outset, not during, is because it's due to the weakness. The body is feeling a little more, depleted, and therefore that's why it happened. And that's sort of like coming due to illness and coming due to an external cause. That's why. So it's because of that's the physical reality of it. Amalei Rava, so Rava challenged this, that this is why, again, it's okay now in an explanation of the Mishnah, but now we're just discussing this idea. Why is it that at the outset, we, if it comes after seminal emission, it's not a problem? So we're just saying because of physically the reality of the body. So Amalei Rava, so Rava says that can't be. Vatanan, we taught in the Mishnah, Ger Shenit Gayer, a person converted, Mitami Miyad Beziva, and then he has a flow, he becomes a Zav right away. And we don't care if a minute before he converted, let's say he had a seminal emission. That's the way he's reading it. Like, we don't care about his past history. Okay, now, why is it? If it's just based on the physical state of his body, so we should be concerned about what happened to him even before he went to the mikveh and became a ger, right? If that's the state of his body, that's the state of his body. Now, of course, who said we're talking about a special case like that? I mean, of all these other cases in the Mishnah, let's say he ate something, let's say he was sick. Right? Presumably those would continue to be factors even after he converted. But for some reason, we're saying, no, the Mishnah doesn't distinguish. Even if he had a seminal emission right before he converted, he would still be a Zav. So you see, it's not based on what that does to the physical state of his body. Okay, so the Gemara says, you don't have an illness right now. That doesn't sound like that's a retort back. What does that mean? You don't have an illness greater than this. But converting is an illness? So let's see what Tosos says. Look at Tosos. Amalei Rava v'hatnan. You see the Tosos Amar Rava, it's like 5 lines before the lines get wide. V'hatnan, ger shenit gayer, mitami beziva miyad, hachigasinan, ve'amai. This is not a retort back. This is part of Rava's question. Ha'ein l'cha choli gadol mizeh. Pirishri, ger shara keri, kodem shenit gayer. That's what we're just assuming the case is. Why we're assuming that, I don't know. Shenit gayer, v'ra aziva, mitami beziva. Lo tifter keri et aziva. And we don't say that the fact that he had this right before he converted gets him out, is a factor. The im kedive rav adav rav papa to time it to carry post beziva habachra mishum chusha, and if it's just because of the state of the body, its weakness, so gabeger nami name mahachti dein lechadi ganu mizeh, meaning that now not doesn't mean converting is the whole, meaning the same way if he had that condition before he converted, that's also relevant here. Again, it doesn't really fit the words. Even the way Tosos is reading it with it's just saying the Shechvat Zera is the same reality in this case as well. There's nothing greater than this. It's saying so in this case when he converted, it should be the same reality. It should be the same condition.
The metaphysical difference is 1 minute he wasn't Jewish and the next minute he was Jewish. In between,
yeah, but that's not how Tosos is reading it. He says the Mali Kari Sharakashu Avigochavim, Mali Sharakashu Yisrael. So it's not Ein Lecha Choli Gadol Mizeh. It's that this case should be Umay Shna should really be the difference, right? This case should be no different than having had it after you converted. If it's the effect on your body, it's the effect on your body. Why should it matter that it happened before you converted? Again, it's reading a lot into this Mishnah because the Mishnah did not say that this condition happened to the guy before he converted. And also, it's a real reread of this phrase. Anyway, that's how Tosos reads the Gemara. Rava says it can't be the effect on the body because then it should be a factor even if it happened before somebody converted. And it's not a factor if it happened before you converted. So the Gemara says, Ella Tanaihi, really, this is an issue about the Tanaim, the status of the Shechvat Zera, meaning what Tosos sort of reads in is the reason that being a Zav after Balteri is not a problem at the outset. That's like a special Gzeres HaKasa, which Tosos quotes from another Midrash Halacha that learns it out. And therefore, it's only relevant if it happened once the guy had converted. It's not because of the impact on the body. It was not noticed, for example, in the list of the 7 things that you check for external factors. So in our Mishnah, the 7 things you check for external factors are real physical conditions, and presumably, even if those things happened before a guy converted, they would be relevant because they're realities about the physical impact on the body. The halacha that having a ziva following a seminal emission, that ziva is not counted as a ziva, that's more of a gzeres hakasuv, that's not based on the physical condition, and therefore it only happens if if the person became a Balkari after he converted. What happened before he converted is irrelevant. Okay, so that's in terms of this issue of a Ziva following being a Balkari.
Because the psukim don't apply to him because he wasn't Jewish.
Exactly. Okay, so that's that issue. Now, back to the case of our Mishnah, what does it mean that once he's a Zav, his Shechvat Zera is Tameh? So let's take a look, because now, if the idea about being a Balkari gets you off of being a Zav is Xeris Akosov, then maybe it applies even after the guy's a Zav. Remember, the things that we say change after the guy's a Zav is because of Raglayim L'davar. Now that we know that this guy's a Zav, we don't attribute it to other factors. We assume it's based on his condition. And if there was a doubt, right, remember that other case, whether it came with the Siman or not the Siman, we assume, look, you're already a Zav, probably it came by itself and so on. All of those are based on certain assumptions of the physical reality of what's going on here, right? But now that we're saying that the Ziva following a Balkari is Xeris HaKosov, that it doesn't count as Ziva, then presumably that might apply even after the guy's a Zav. So now we have to go back and find the meaning of the Mishnah by that the Shechvat Zera is not a problem. So is a problem. Let's take a look. So it says like this. Ella Tanahi, it's a bait of Tanahi, the tiny Tanah Brisa. Shechvat Zera shel Zav metami b'masa kol me'ed me'ed. Rabbi Yossi Omer Yomo. So actually, there is an opinion that the semen causes tumah 24 hours. If it occurs within 24 hours after the flow. So the guy had a flow Tuesday at 1 p.m. until Wednesday at 1 p.m. Any semen will be considered to have the same tumah as the ziva itself. For 24 hours after the emission, the semen will have the same tumah, will be even through being carried. And Rabbi Yossi says no, only on the day itself, not on the following day. It won't go for 24 hours. What's the debate? But to Shmuel Rami, Shmuel showed a contradiction. Okay, a man will not be tahor, an occurrence of the night. This is meaning that he has a seminal emission. Okay, and come the evening, he'll bathe in water. He'll be tahor. So the way we're reading it is lo yet tahor does not mean he is not tahor because he had a seminal emission. The way we are reading it is, this psukim here is totally not about a zav at all. You see, it's in Dvarim, it's not in Tazria Mitzorah. It's totally about seminal emission. But we're reading it the following way: Lo yet tahor, he's not tahor for another reason. He's a zav. Okay, so it's if a man is already a zav, lo yet tahor, and he has a seminal emission, he's got a mikra laila. We treat that as ziva as well. Okay, so it's pretty funny. There's a parsha that's like 2 sif svarim. It's in Dvarim after Vayikra. After the Torah ever mentioned zav, but we're reading zav into this parsha. Okay, why not? So if he is a zav and he has something at night, then that's also treated as ziva.
The only thing is, look, the syntax of the pasuk is strange, right?
Right.
Ki yebecha, it should say mikra laila.
I understand. Whatever. Okay, right. It's funny that it first calls him lo tahor before it describes that he had the emission. So that's what we're saying. He was already to lo tahor. Okay. So there it says mikra laila. So if something happened at night, meaning the night of let's say the seminal emission, right? So therefore it's going to be treated as ziva. But another pasuk says, or not the other pasuk. The end of the pasuk says, "Vayal lifnot erev yichatz b'mayim." Towards evening he shall bathe in water, which means. And all the way through to next evening, there we would consider the seminal emission to be a problem, to be a part of a ziva. So mandamar me'es lays, if you say 24 hours, daik milifnos aref, towards evening. So he has this event at night, and all the way until the next night, any seminal emission is going to be treated like ziva. No, only that night itself. By the morning, it already won't have that status. So that's only Yomo, like Yomo meaning here presumably not the halachic day, but like a 12-hour period, like that segment of the day. So but if it says leaves no doubt, what do you do with the fact that it says only an event of the evening? I'm like, no, or to carry, excuse me. No, that's what happens. That normally seminal emission happens at night, but it doesn't. But the tumah of the ziva that we consider to be like a ziva goes till the next evening. So bottom line is, what did we say? We're back to what we said before, that semen from a zav, after a person is already a zav, is treated like ziva, and therefore it is tamei even by masa. We rejected it initially because we said, well, that's only because there are droplets of ziva mixed up in it. It's not because of the semen itself. which even so would have been a beautiful read of the Mishnah. That's the whole point of Raglayim L'davar. That's why we're treating it like Ziva, because of Raglayim L'davar, because we assume there's other stuff. But the Gemara wanted to make it in principle that the semen is a problem. So it says, yeah, actually, even if there weren't droplets of Ziva, based on this pasuk, we learned that the semen following the Ziva, either within 24 hours or for that day, same period, for a brief period of time, is considered to be like Ziva itself. And that's what the Mishnah means, that the semen following it is treated like Ziva.
This whole deliberation, what does it have to do again? Bring us back to like the third Re'iyah, in other words, this.
So there's two things. One is, if it's due to external causes, do we care? After 2 Re'iyot, we don't, or maybe after onus. 3, we don't. Okay. That's the honest issue. Then the other question is, also after 2 Re'iyot, if there's a doubt whether it came with the semen or by itself, we'll assume it came by itself, and therefore it'll destroy the whole 7-day clean days, not just its day. And the semen itself will be a problem, and now, again, that was this deliberation. Exactly. All right, yes.
What is the nature of this? What is the nature of that material? Is it like from an infection?
Yeah, so the Mishnah describes what it looks like. I can read you the Mishnah. What exactly it's coming from? Like I said, there are some people that want to think maybe it's like some type of a, a gonorrhea or something like that.
The British English translations of Talmud always say
so how would
gonorrhea.
Yeah. So how would it relate to weakness in the body then if it's an infection?
Yeah, I don't know. Meaning, I think that it's just that we don't know that we because maybe we don't know exactly. The Gemara never identifies what it's based on, so it could just be that the Gemara basically wants to make sure that it's something. Once it's attributable to something else, it's sort of like sarab. Like we don't want to assume it's a normal medical condition. Like and therefore, if it's attributable to something that's more causal, that specifically makes it not ziva. You know what I'm saying? So, but right, because I think the Gemara is not taking doesn't say, oh, it's this condition. It actually wants to make it something. So if you want here, if I can quickly find, let me see if I can quickly find the Mishnah that would say, that will describe what it looks like.
Also, I don't know if that's the case here, but there was like a common idea across a lot of cultures that like seminal emission weakening.
No, I understand.
Yeah, he's talking about the ziv itself.
It's saying after that, then it's absorbing it. But
what?
I thought there was some difference between when things were dry.
There is some difference. Yeah, there is. I just don't want to get into it. Hold on, let me just see very quickly if I can't find another minute. All right. Yeah, I'm not finding it right now. Anyway, okay. All right. Let's take a look. All right, last Mishnah. Here we go. And actually a little like, somewhat agadic. Well, the Gemara is going to be agadic. Nazir haya Shmuel, Kediva Rav Norai. Right? So Shmuel was a Nazir, which is what Rav Norai says. Shenemar, umora lo yalel rosho. Right? It never says that he will not drink or be matami l'meisim, but it says he will not have a razor come over his head. So what else is that if not Nazirut? Of course, and it's very similar also, right? Because it's his mother talking the same way. It was like Shimshon's. Shimshon was the angel, but talking to the mother. Anyway, so once again, somebody else imposing it on the child, and the irony being that we've heard before that a father can make his son a Nazir, but in these cases, it's always either the mother or the angel, not the father. Anyway, okay. Nemar b'Shimshon umorav, and Nemar b'Shmuel umorav. Ma'amora hamur b'Shimshon Nazir, afmora hamur b'Shmuel Nazir. So it's not enough to say he wasn't going to get his head shaved, because why would that say he's a Nazir? That's just one aspect. But because of the same language used by Shimshon, and there we know he was a Nazir. It says Nazir Elohim yenar min abaten. So here too we assume he was a Nazir. Amar Rabbi Yossi. So Rabbi Yossi said back to Rav Norai, "V'lo ein mora elo shel basar v'dam." So he says mora means fear, not a razor. Of course, that would be spelled with an aleph. Okay. But so it says that he will never be afraid. He'll never be fearful of any human being. It's a very funny way of challenging it. Okay, so Amalei Rav Norai. So Rav Norai said back, Amarlo, Avalok kvar nemar, vayom Shmuel eich elech v'shama sha'u v'harageni. So v'shekvar hayalav Moshe basar v'tam. You can't say it means he won't be afraid of people. It's clear he was afraid of people, so that can't be what it means. I don't know why they don't just say it's spelled with a and not an aleph. Anyway, okay. So what? Yes.
Can I just have a small question? Is it unusual for there to be in a Mishnah a Tana with an Aramaic name?
No, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah. Also, yeah. I don't know what to say. That was his name, though. But yeah, okay. Right. Hamalei Rav Chia Lebrei. So Hamalei Rav Chia Brei. So Rav said to Chia, his son, Chitof uberech. So grab and make a bracha. What? So we'll see what this means. Meaning, so, but you should be making the bracha for, like, for other people, like whether it's a birchas hanenin or birchas hamazon. Okay, or birchas, Tosfos says it's bircha chtof kos shel bracha barich birchat zimun. Okay, is what Tosfos, that's not Tosfos, that's Rashi. Okay, so, but anyway, you should be the one to make a bracha. It's kiddush, whatever it is. V'chein amalei Rav Huna l'Rabbi brei chtof ubarich. Go grab and make the bracha. If it sounds like the one making the bracha is better, Rabbi Yossi Omer Gadol ha'one amen Yosem mina mevarich. Better to say amen than to make the bracha. Vamalei. I can't read this because my Gemara here is. I know. My Gemara here is. It's like the pronoun. Just take another Gemara. I got it. Okay. Okay, family Rav Norai. Okay, I'm sorry. Vatanya Rav Yossi Omer Gadol ha'one Yosem mina mevarich. Family Rav Norai Hashamayim Kachu. Presumably, the only reason we're quoting this, besides that, like, it's the end of a Masechet, so we might as well do something fun, is presumably because of Rav Nehorai, because he's a very name, a Tana. So here we have Rav Nehorai coming up in a Braita. And Rav Nehorai said, Hashamayim kachu, by heaven you should know that this is true, that only amen is better. Teda, you should know, Sharei Gul Yarim Mitkarim B'Milchama, the fight in the war, are not Gul Yarim, actually. I meant to look it up in Jasper, but I didn't. What does he say Gul Yarim means there? Since what?
Unclear.
Unclear meaning of
the new Latin for Galearitas, Mishaba. It's like the soldiers, the assistant.
It's the light.
No,
the lights out with cavalry.
Like a warrior has his, a knight has his whatever, his assistants or something.
Right.
Or
weapons bearer.
Might mean the foot soldiers. You send out the foot soldiers to get slaughtered, and then you come in with the cavalry. Common soldier. Okay.
That's right. You kind of have the skirmish first to kind of
weaken the troops,
the defenses, and then you send in the big guns.
The big guns. Okay. The giborim no tzchim, and then the big guns coming later. So therefore, the guy makes the bracha. That's just the front troops. The amen, that's the power. Now it's a nice little image, but like the question is, like, what's the logic behind it? Why is the ona amen yosef? So I got to tell you. I don't know what shot I gave this Gemara before, but as I was reading this, I was reminded of this great TED Talk. I think the first time I'm quoting a TED Talk here. Anyway, which was about the importance of followers. And it actually said, we always talk about, they have all of these like leadership and creating the next generation of leaders or whatever. It says we sense of followers. So basically, had this amazing video. You got to see this. This guy like on a beach, and he gets up. Like, and everybody's just lying on the beach, and this guy starts doing this like totally weird dance, right? And everybody's looking at him like he's nuts, right? So he says, if all you have is a leader, like then, like, you have nothing, right? Like, then one guy starts like joining in with him and doing the whole thing. And then as soon as he starts getting a follower, all of a sudden it's like he's not in it alone. He's not crazy. And then that follower gets two other people start, say, oh, that guy's doing it. They're going to do it too. This was like not scripted. This was an actual video, right? And the next thing you know, you got the whole section of the beach. Everybody is doing it because so it was a very powerful video. It's like, it's not just the guy that goes out there and leads. If you don't have the followers, then he falls flat. It's the people that come right after, meaning that really, so if you guy says a bracha and everybody ignores him, but you say amen, and other people say amen, whatever, so it starts a whole movement. All right. I was thinking about that. Next thing you know, we got a movement, right? Go and start singing Alice's Restaurant. Yes. Okay, you'll get the reference some other time.
It's 18 minutes long. So what's the word shamayim here?
But like in God, an oath, like in God's name, by heaven.
Right. So, you know, the Sephardic practice is when somebody makes a bracha on behalf of the community, like Sfirat HaOmer and the Zimun, the response is Shamayim.
Right, interesting.
So it's a very, and it's a similar context here. Right? It's the own it, it's the response to the person who's about to make a bracha.
Interesting. Right. So it actually, you know,
That's good, given what we had to work with here.
All right. So anyway, no, I really think that's shot. You know, you get one guy goes out and make a bracha. Nobody says anything. It's just the one guy. You start answering amen. You get a whole backing to it. Okay. So Tanaihi. So anyway, so why should you run to make the bracha? You should be the first guy to say amen. You should be the first follower, not the leader. So Tanaihi. It's a debate of Tanaihi. The Tanya. So whether you make the bracha, whether you say amen, it equally counts. You sort of, you know, you more readily try to be the mevarich. Rebbe Linzer. So that was the end of that, and presumably that was only quoted because of Rav Nehorai. Amar Rebbe Eliezer, Amar Rabbi Chanina, and this seems to have no tie-in, but nice way to end on a little word of Agadata. Talmidei Chachamim marbim shalom be'olam shenemar v'chol b'nayich limudei Hashem v'rav shalom b'nayich. All of your children are learners of God, and they bring much peace. Hadron alach chusim ein lecha nizirut, or goyim ein lecha nizirus v'slik olam meseches Nazir. So I was trying to come up with some way in which that had something to do with the Nazir, these last two Agadatas, but you know they really seem independent. I don't know if somebody can come up with some brilliant way to connect this.
Is there another source where the member continues al fikra b'nayich?
Yeah. So if you take a look, he says. They quote at the side that it's in the Gemara in Brachos, it has that ending. But I think that scholars believe, last time I checked, that actually is a later gloss. That you don't need to do like, you know, that Banayich, Rav Shalom, and Banayich is always like, you know, spiritual heirs are children. You don't have to say Bonayich, right? So I don't know, but yeah, that presumably that's a later gloss. But again, what this has to do specifically with Nazir, I don't know. But in case anybody figured that we finished this Masechet and you don't know bottom line how to really be a Nazir. So at the end of in the Vilna Shas, at the end of the Parish Mishnayos of the Rambam, which occurs right afterwards, there's something here that they don't know who wrote this, but it says Wow. So somebody actually organized. So you can either read the Rambam Hilchos Nazir, or you could read this, and you can know exactly how to be a Nazir. Okay, so we'll see you all tomorrow from the Sechet Sotah. No, just one page. All right.